morning, everyone. It is August 5th today. I think it's August 5th. Yeah, Tuesday, August 5th. I lose track of the dates. It is about 9 a.m. and I have already gotten quite a bit done today, so that feels good. And I thought I would come out here. I just finished walking Tilly, and I want to sit out on the back deck here and work on some knitting for just like 30 minutes or so. That's typically what I do. Honestly, I usually do my Bible reading while I'm drinking my coffee, and then I immediately work on my knitting project, whatever that one is for the day that I've chosen. But today we were low on easy breakfast foods, so I need to bake some sourdough. And so we didn't really have much for breakfast. So I ended up throwing together a breakfast for all of us, but Lily needed to leave for school and Brad had work, so I needed to get it started fairly early. So I haven't knitted yet because then when I was finished with that, I needed to throw laundry in the machine, and then Tilly was full of energy, so I needed to take her for a walk. But I've done those things. Now I'm going to sit here and knit and watch a podcast on YouTube while I do that for about 30 minutes. What am I going to do today? So I think what I would like to do is bake some zucchini bread, because I have not made any zucchini bread this year so far, and I have some zucchini. So I want to do that. I might bake some extra just to keep in the freezer, just to pull out if we have guests over or whatever. It's always nice to have. I probably will make like a loaf of zucchini bread with regular flour. And then I would like to maybe see if I can find a good recipe for zucchini bread or muffins that I can eat. A lot of times when it comes to baked goods, I just make them for my family and I don't eat them. But I have had a major sweet tooth lately. And I don't know if the zucchini bread, because I don't typically bake with sugar. I typically bake with like maple syrup or whatever. But honestly, I've been craving a vanilla cupcake with like buttery, sugary vanilla icing. We have a bakery that is, 45 minutes away. And they have the best, in my opinion, the best gluten-free vanilla cupcakes with vanilla icing. I have been craving one of those, and I have considered driving there, but I have no reason to go there other than to get myself a cupcake. So that seems frivolous and like a waste of gas. So, and I probably could make it myself, but then I would have like a dozen. I don't want that many to tempt me. I just want one. Baked zucchini bread, and I purchased a new rug for my entryway. Ruggable, which this is not sponsored. I'm just saying I love Ruggable rugs. They're washable rugs that you can literally throw in your washing machine and dryer. And I bought a new one because the one that I had in there was just a cheap washable one that I had bought at like Aldi or Walmart or something like that. And I've washed it enough times now that it's getting kind of threadbare. Ruggable had a sale a couple weeks ago for 25% off, which is a really good sale. So I bought a new one for in there. So I want to get my entryway floor nice and clean. It's often not clean, but I want to get that mopped up and then put my new rug down, which is really fun. I went with a really fun and unexpected color. My friend Danielle was over when I got it last week when it came in the mail, and I pulled it out and she said, "Oh, well, that's very unexpected," because I'm very much a blue toned girl. So she said, "I was expecting a blue rug," and it's actually pink and orange. So I'll show it to you later if I get around to putting it out, which actually, no, I'm going to get it out. I want to get it out. So I need to just do it. I've had it for a week now, and I need to get that on entryway cleaned up so I can put my new rug out. But for now, let me just show you my two. These are my only summer shirt knitting projects that I have. And it's my Lotus top, which I haven't worked on since I talked about this on my podcast episode. So I'm actually I brought my ranunculus out, but I'm actually gonna, I think, sit here and work on this because I just need to do about another inch of ribbing, and then I'm gonna be able to bind this off, and then I just need to do a short sleeve. And I mean, gosh, guys, it's August. It's like the beginning of August. All these things like our town's folk festival was just this past weekend. All these things that in my mind signify the end of summer are happening. We have our fair, our county fair coming up here this weekend. It starts, or this week, Friday, I think. That is like always signifies to me the end of summer, which I know it's only August, so it's not the end of summer, but it's just these things are happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't finished either of my summer knitting projects yet. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to work on this right now, but I did bring out my ranunculus, which I was going to work on. And then I'm like, no, I need to get that lotus done. So I have this too, which, oh my gosh, I left my stitch stopper somewhere and I'm just playing with fire here. Yeah, so here's this. The lighting's not very good right now because of where I'm sitting on the porch, but so I have a good amount done on this, and I love this pattern. I do, and I'm really enjoying this yarn. This is the Sinus Garnlina. I have never used it before. I typically, as you know, knit with drop spell because it's a much better price point, but I had the opportunity to try this because I went to Magpie Fiber. I forget what the name of the shop is, in Charlottesville, Virginia, while we were there on vacation. And Susan, who is the owner of that shop, had such an extensive inventory of a various amount of colorways. So I found this beautiful icy blue one, which I think is just called light blue. But I thought I want to try that out because, as I already said, I'm going to compare it to the drop spell and do a little comparison video for everyone to listen to. And I would have liked to have that done. I wish I would have thought of it back at like the beginning of the summer, but I will probably just film it this year and then it will be in my video playlists for whoever might be interested in the future for next summer. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to work on this and I don't know, set my timer for 30 minutes, even though I could sit out here for hours and just knit, but you know, we have other responsibilities as well. Got stuff to do, so can't spend all day knitting, even if I want to do that sometimes. It's definitely going to be a big change for me because, like I said, I'm very used to blue. But I'm going to like it in here. It's very pretty. And I guess you can still see the floor a little bit. I might actually end up pulling the rug closer over to that side because that's actually where we get the stains. So yeah, I don't know. It's a nice change. It's nice and bright. I'm all about the brightness and the cheerfulness. Tilly, do you approve of our new rug? You look good on it, Tilly. You look cute on that rug. Is that going to be a new comfy place for you to lay and take little naps? Yeah? Are you the cutie pie? Yes, you are the cutie pie. You probably want to go out for another walk, huh? Do you want to go for a walk? Yeah? You want to go for a walk? Yes? Walkie? It is like 1:15 now, and I just finished walking Tilly again, and I think I have almost all of my inside chores done. So I thought I'd come back out to the back deck and work some more on this shirt, on my Lotus top. I am going to start binding off. I decided that I'm going to go ahead and bind off now. And it's just slightly shorter than what I wanted, but it's cotton, so it's going to stretch a little bit too. So I think if I bind off now, I'll be good to go. And then I'm hoping to get one sleeve picked up and started, and then I will feel good about where I am with this for the day. If I get anything else done beyond that, it'll be a bonus. Okay, so I'm back on my back deck, and I just enjoyed a really yummy piece. My plate is empty. A yummy piece of gluten-free zucchini bread. I will link the recipe down below. So anyway, I'm sitting out here and I've been working on my bind off of my Lotus top. So I'm doing a tubular bind off, and I've done all of this. So I'm like a third of the way. No, I'm 2/3 of the way through. About a third left to bind off. I love the tubular bind off for the look and I think the finish of it is really nice. I feel like it definitely looks nicer when you're using a wool yarn rather than, this is just like 100% cotton. This is drop saffron. But it kind of gives that more rounded edge, and then it's a stretchier bind off than just doing like a regular bind off. So most of the time when I knit a sweater, I use the tubular bind off. Even though it takes way longer, it's just a very good, nice looking bind off. And I think just like, I don't mind doing it, just slowing down and stitching using my, oh, you're right under there. Okay, Tilly was at my feet. Anyway, so I have a little bit to go. So what I thought I would do is just jump on here and answer a few of the questions. I had recently put out a little, like, I don't know, call out on Instagram and then also on my YouTube community portion of my channel, just stating I want to do a Q&A in the future, and if you have any questions, drop them there. So I thought what I would do, I had some that are more like just life or personal related, and then I had the majority of them were knitting related. So I thought I would quickly just address some of the more personal life questions. So the first one that's on my mind is, how did you and Brad meet? So we met in high school. We were high school sweethearts. We started dating when we were both 16. And then we got married when we were 20. We both had a year of college left. So we've been together it's been since 1995. So 30 years. We've been together 30 years, married 25. Okay, another one was about my past life is working as a nurse. So I went to school. I originally started as a molecular biology pre-med major. I loved science. I still do. And while I was in school, I realized that I wanted a family more than I wanted a career. And if I was going to go the pre-med route, that was not going to be very conducive to the type of family rhythm that I wanted. And so I then switched my major. This was before Brad and I were even married. I just knew, like, in general, that if I went into something and like pre-med, and if I would have finished with that and become a doctor, I knew that it would not have been something that I would have wanted to be doing when I had kids. Because for me, like, I just really wanted to have kids and have a family and hopefully eventually become a stay-at-home mom. So I ditched that whole thing and went into, got a nursing degree. And I did that, and I worked as a nurse until 2017, and then I quit, and I haven't gone back. I don't plan on going back. I don't plan on ever working in the healthcare industry again. Nursing is a very stressful job. I don't think nurses get paid enough for what they deal with. And then the hours, and I just don't have any desire to go back into that. I'm thankful for everything I learned and the jobs that I had when I was a nurse, and they really definitely grew me, but it's not something I'm planning on going back to ever again. Okay, I have people ask me about my sourdough all the time. It is not gluten-free sourdough, so I just don't eat it. I may start doing some gluten-free sourdough, but I'm not sure about that yet. It took me 9 months to perfect my sourdough method. I don't have any one recipe. I probably watched like 35 to 40 YouTube videos and read a bunch of recipes and just combined different things and tried different things. And so 9 months later, then I found the method that worked for me. And it's pretty foolproof now for me, which is awesome, because when I first, for the first several months of doing sourdough, sometimes my bread would be really nice and other times it would be really flat. So yeah, Lots of practice. So if you're doing sourdough, just stick with it and you'll eventually get it. Okay, I had somebody ask me why I put sock curls in my hair if I have naturally curly hair. Well, I just recently started wearing my hair with its natural state of waviness. I have done that in the past, but it honestly can be a bit easier for me just to put it up in socks. But now that I'm doing my curly hair again and I have found a relatively simple routine, I'll probably stick with this, at least for a while. It just started to rain. Can you hear that? There's still blue sky, but it's raining. Okay. I had somebody so I had someone ask about my heart condition, because I think I might have spoken about that at some point. Maybe even when I was going through all the testing. I do have a valve deformity. I have mitral valve prolapse, which I knew that I had that when I was a senior in high school. I was diagnosed with that, and it's always been like not too bad. As far as like, I have both of my leaflets of my valve are prolapsed, but I don't, like, it's not a severe regurgitation. However, last January, I had been having some increased heart palpitations and like a whistling murmur and just not feeling right. So I saw a new cardiologist and he ordered a cardiac MRI, and it showed that I have not just the prolapse, but also something called mitral annular disjunction, which really has just recently been discovered. So there's not a lot known about it, other than in some people with it, they do have dangerous ventricular arrhythmias. So that was something really hard for me to deal with, because, so the question was, how do you deal with your heart thing and not feeling overly anxious about it? Well, I do feel overly anxious about it a lot. I go through phases. I think about it almost every day. I'm very sensitive to any heart palpitations I get. Perimenopause has definitely increased the heart palpitations, and hormone replacement therapy has been helping that. And I also am on a beta blocker now, which was a decision that I made, that Brad and I had talked about, and we made with my doctor by weighing the benefits and the risks, which beta blockers have been around for a really long time. But basically, my deformity of my heart valve can cause, like, people that have this are at an increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest. So when you are faced with that, and the beta blocker can help that by slowing the heart rate and making the rhythm more even. It was one of those decisions that I was like, well, I'm going to do this. I still deal with it. I like to do the natural things. So it's hard for me to take a beta blocker. But I have to say, it has helped me tremendously. It has taken away, I think, I went on it before the hormone replacement therapy. So I know that it was very monumental in decreasing the arrhythmia greatly. And then when I added on the hormone replacement therapy, that helped even more. So that's, I don't know. I mean, I just basically have to really work through it sometimes. We had a couple of weeks ago in our community, we had a young college-aged woman die of sudden cardiac arrest while running a half marathon. And that, I'm still dealing with the anxiety of that, because I think as an health anxiety struggler, someone who struggles with it, when you hear of a tragic health event happening to someone else, you think it's going to happen to you. And especially if, like, my heart is already an issue for me, like, so I've been dealing with increased anxiety since that happened, and that's normal, I think. Honestly, for me, it comes down to, I'm doing everything that I can. I live a healthy lifestyle as much as possible. I'm taking this beta blocker. I have an implanted loop monitor. So I have a monitor that they implanted it under my skin, so it watches everything. And, I get my regular echoes. And so other than that, I can't do anything. So I have to just kind of leave it in God's hands. And just remember that every day, the Bible says that every day that was ordained for me was written down before the world was even created. So for me, as a believer in Christ and what the Bible says, and I know not everybody has the same viewpoint as me, but I'm just saying for me, so then I need to cling to that and believe in that. So that's pretty much how I deal with it. And I don't always deal well. Okay, someone else asked about my sinus procedure that I recently had done. So it was a breeze. I'm just saying I would have it again. I just went into my doctor's office. They put a tube up my nose. They blew up this balloon. They did it several times, like on each side. And I heard all this cracking and stuff. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to be in so much pain for so long. But it was like a week, and then I was back to normal. And I had my first cold back, when was that? The end of May or sometime in June. And typically what would happen is I would get a cold, and instead of just having a cold, I would get sick with the sinus thing because my sinuses were so constricted, like the passageways were almost closed off. So then I would be sick for months. And when I got sick with this cold back in June, which was after my procedure, like 2 months after my procedure, I was sick for 2 weeks. So that was a big improvement. So I would definitely get it again. So I think that's everything. I'm just going to sit here and finish off. Look, I don't have that much left. Finish off this tubular bind off. I'm waiting for something to come in the mail. I pre-ordered a new book, and I'm so excited about it. I don't even know. I think I pre-ordered it in June, and I forgot about it, and I got a message that it was being shipped and it should be delivered today. So I really hope it comes because I'm excited, and I will share that with you if it's in my mailbox. So I'm going to get back to this because my goal is to get this completely bound off and then pick up the stitches on one of the sleeves so I can have that ready to roll the next time I work on this, which may not be until tomorrow. I'm going for a bike ride tonight with Brad and Ian and Jordan. Ian is my son and Jordan is his wife. We're going to go for a bike ride. So I probably won't be working on it this evening, but maybe tomorrow sometime.